So the Bad Batch season 2 had its finale today, and I came out of it with a bad taste in my mouth. Now, before I get into the issue, and yes, obviously it's going to contain spoilers, um, I want to just talk about the show a little bit before I get into what makes me upset and honestly kind of mad. So the Bad Batch, the first season was, it didn't have a whole lot going for it in my opinion. It really felt like it was trying to figure out what it wanted to be, and that's fine. The show can take its time to like figure out what it wants to be, but I would expect by like season 2 you try to find your footing and whatnot. And the thing with the Bad Batch is clearly in season 2 they want us to care about the Bad Batch, right? Well, they didn't really do it. And yes, like we had a lot of kind of character moments, but not much happened in those moments. There's a lot of talking, but not a lot of character development. And that's the main issue I have with the show, is that for a show that wants us to focus more on the Bad Batch than what's happening in the grand scheme of Star Wars, why aren't they developing? There's been very little development because the issue with the Bad Batch is that they're staying with the caricatures, their stereotypes that they are, Hunter the leader, Wrecker the strong stupid one, Tech the smart guy, etc. going on. And the show I feel like the writers have this weird feeling that they can't evolve them past that. And like we get little glimpses of kind of character developments, like in this season we obviously had the episode where Omega and Tech talked with each other in the cave, and Tech got a little personal about why he deals with things differently than other people, and that was cool. I'm like, oh my god, we're getting a little hint of character growth here. And then obviously like Crosshair, he was very much like the guy who follows orders, and now he's like starting to realize there might be a little bit more to that, but he only has like 2 episodes, so the man can't really grow. It's hard to grow when you have little screen time, and then even when you have that screen time, your development is pretty short and sped up. I mean, obviously he killed the Imperial officer, but it just kind of like happened. Like, it's like they're like, oh, we gotta have Crosshair be good now, so he just is like, oh, maybe I'm tired of this guy, and it's just sometimes it feels a little rushed, and there's not a whole lot of development. Anyways, that's my issue with the show, is that it feels like the writers have this weird sense that they can't evolve the characters past their stereotypes. But then they were kind of trying to this season because, like I said, the show wants to be about the Bad Batch. So you gotta make them interesting. And they were doing that with Tech. It was very clear that Tech was getting a lot of development. Like I said, there's a scene with Omega in the cave, and then when they go to the water planet, I forget its name, they're starting to feel like they can settle down. Maybe they don't have to be soldiers anymore, or they can at least pull back a bit. And then also with I don't know the pirate chick's name, I already forgot her name. She starts to, she clearly is interested in Tech. She thinks it's clearly there's some kind of romantic thing there. Even in the penultimate episode, she tells him don't go off with any other pirates, and he's a little numb, he's a little socially awkward, so he doesn't really know. So obviously they're building him up to have character growth, which I'm like, finally, this is what the show needs. But then I also realize they're focusing on Tech too much. I think they might kill him, because that's a fair point. And I, as someone who's big into film and media and writing and everything, it kind of ruins some viewing experiences, but I always try to look at what the end goal is with shows, books, movies, whatever. And so I sat there probably halfway through the season, and I was like, Tech is either gonna have the most character development in the show, or he's gonna get killed off. And well, they did both. They gave him the most character development. Can't speak. They gave him the most character development in this show, and then they killed him. And when I say they gave him the most character development, that's not saying much. He didn't really grow too much. We just kind of found out more about him, and then he had like a relationship that wasn't actually a relationship. You know, it was clearly like there's foundation of relationship and then nothing. And then they have the gall to kill him off. So now we're stuck with the rest of the stereotypes, which just pains me as, you know, I would say I'm a writer, but I'm really not. But like it as a man who loves storytelling, it pains me because I want to love the Bad Batch. I've been, saying that people need to give it more chances. That it's like the first like 2-3 seasons of the Clone Wars. Those weren't really that great. Like sure there were some decent stories, but like it was still trying to find its footing. They didn't really do the arcs yet. It was trying to figure out what I wanted to be. So I was like, give it the same opportunity that we gave Clone Wars. And then the moment that I thought they were going on the right path, they take a step backwards. And it sucks because like clearly they leave on a cliffhanger. They're like, hey, there's gonna be season 3, guys, which is, cool. But now I'm getting less invested in the story, which it should be the opposite. You left on a cliffhanger. There's a lot of things coming to fruition, and it's like you're just reverting characters. You don't want them to grow, and I don't even want to say it's annoying. It just makes me not care, and I want to care about the show so badly. It's you have the great Clone Wars animation, and we're in a really cool time period that isn't explored a whole lot so far. And I know a lot of people want more world building or whatnot, and that the Bad Batch is kind of boring. And they tried to evolve them, and then they just kill off the most interesting person, which is, you can do that. I'm not saying that the show can't kill people off. Like, it's really cool that they decide that they can do that, because a lot of people watching the show just assume nothing bad can happen to the main cast. So the fact that they actually killed someone off is kind of crazy. But don't make it the most interesting person or the person that you are building up, because one, that's too obvious, and two, then it's just like now we're stuck with the people that we don't care about. And it just bothers me. There's not really much else I have to say besides that I'm upset by it. I do hope that maybe season 3 is a bit better, but I'm still gonna watch the show. I still, enjoy watching it. It's fun just to have a little taste of, like a cable television show again. It's nice. But I think the writing team really need to step up their game. They are too focused on trying to make us care for these characters without evolving the characters. And that is hurting them in the long run, because then you have episodes where they have just a lot of characters talking and nothing really changes. Everyone's still the same. We get maybe a little bit of team turmoil, and then it's resolved because we have to get to the next episode. And it's just, and like no one even like addresses like the times that they've gotten mad at each other or any of that. It just doesn't change any dynamics. So at the end of the day, we're just kind of getting a show where we sit here, watch these people talk with each other, and then nothing changes. And I'm really hoping that season 3 improves, though. I want to know what other people think too. So, do you guys think I'm right about this, or at least I'm like in the do you agree with what I'm feeling here? Maybe I'm not right, but do you like agree that they made a bad choice here, or do you think it was a good choice? I want to know. Are you enjoying the show? Do you think the writing is fine? And I just want to know. I want to know other people's opinions, because honestly, the show isn't talked about as much when you have Mando going on at the same time. So I'm just very curious. Anyways, that's all I have to say. See ya.